Hello! So I got bats on my t-shirt today, and if you read the title then you might know what I'm talking about, but today I'm going to be sharing you guys my list of my personal favorite vampire books. So yes, I'm going to be talking about vampires today because just a little tidbit. I love vampires. Can you not tell? I got a bat there, I got a bat on that jar, I got bats on my shirt. I got a big old stack of vampire books. So let's get started. So this, like I said, is my personal favorite list. I know a lot of these are not considered good literature, especially the first book that I'm going to mention. Sorry for my dog. But I personally love vampire books, whether they're trash or not. So it's just my list of ones that I either have A, fond memories of, or B, I just think are actually good vampire books. So let's just get on into it. The first book, we're just gonna get it right out of the way, because why not? Twilight. Stephenie Meyer, like I said, personal list, never said they were good writing. I've made a few videos regarding Twilight. I'll link them down below and up above if you want to check them out. I put this on here for nostalgia reasons. I can't, whenever I think of vampires, I go to Twilight. I know they sparkle, but you know what? Who cares? I love vampires. Twilight sparked that love, so I gotta give credit where credit is due. So there we go. Next, we have a YA classic, and that's Vampire Academy by Rochelle Mead. Yep, I love Vampire Academy. They are just guilty pleasure books. I do want to reread the series. I reread the first two, I think at the beginning of this year or somewhere around there. So I really want to give this series a reread, but it's such a YA staple. It was right up there back in the day with like Sandra Clare books, all that jazz. So yeah, they're just classic vampire books. And I do like the take on vampires in this series. Next, we have one that's a little bit of like, I guess a little bit of a vampire outcast. It was popular for a while, but because I think it wasn't a series, it didn't get as much hype. And that is The Coldest Girl in Cold Town by Holly Black. Yes, Holly Black writes books other than fairy novels, and this is her vampire novel. It took, I don't remember the specifics. It's been a long time since I've read this book, but I do know I was pleasantly surprised by her take on vampires. I do need to give this a reread, but I liked it. It was interesting at the time, and I stand by it, and I think it would be a good like introduction to some YA vampires if you don't want a full like 5-book series. Next, we have just a staple in vampire literature. We got The Vampire Chronicles by Anne Rice, specifically the first book, Interview with a Vampire. I love Interview with the Vampire so much. Recommend the movie, 10 out of 10 for the movie, and the book is also fantastic. It follows two vampires, Louis and Lestat, who are mainly living in the French Quarter in Louisiana for the majority-ish of the book, and then go to France. It is just so good. It is wild. It gives you the evil vampires that you want, the morally gray vampires who are conflicted with what they want. It's just so good, and I need to continue with the series because Anne Rice is just a vampire queen. I just really need to continue with the series because it's such a staple in vampire literature. Also, the movie, please go watch that movie. If you don't want to read the book, at least watch the film. It's such a good vampire movie. It has Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise, but it has Brad Pitt as a vampire. Like, come on. My personal favorite that not a lot of people read, and that's Vampire Kisses by Ellen Schreiber. This is a younger YA, like, well, she's 16. Our main protagonist, Raven, is 16, dates a vampire. The series goes on from there. I personally adore this series. I think it's so cute and fun. It's super Halloween gothic based. It's just so adorable and cute, and it just makes me, it's such a cozy read, and I just adore it. And you'll definitely be seeing this in a future video for Booktober, but yeah, I love this book so much and the series, and it just deserves more hype. Though I think people don't like it. It is a little juvenile, which nowadays I don't think people really like, but I personally love these despite them being a little bit more on the juvenile side of YA. So yeah, there's that. I am going to give a warning for this book because I don't think many people realize there are vampire type creatures in this. They're not typically called vampires in this series. So a little bit of a spoiler. I can't even say it because like it's a spoiler to say the name. So I'm just going to say it. I'm sorry if this spoils you. I apologize. It does have vampire-like creatures. They're not outrightly called vampires, so I don't know if y'all count it as a spoiler. But From Blood and Ash by Jennifer L. Armentrout. there are a species of beings in this world that are very similar to vampires. They feed off of blood. I'm counting this because this series took over my life. This is more of like a high fantasy take on vampires, and they're obviously, like I keep reminding everyone, they're not called vampires, but they are. I do love this series so much, highly recommend it, and it does not read like normal vampire fiction. It is a high fantasy series with other creatures, world building. It's super high fantasy, so there's that if you want a different take on the vampire legend, I guess. The faces I make. Oh, next we have a staple, a classic, Dracula. Yeah, I couldn't make this list and not include my homeboy, the main boy. Well, he wasn't the first boy, but he's the main boy. Yeah, I love Dracula. I love my edition of Dracula. It's very shiny. How could I not include him? He's like the OG. Come on. He had to be on this list. I don't think I need to say anything else. Next we have Crave by Tracy Wolff. This is a YA vampire kind of boarding school series. There are other supernatural creatures in it, but the main ones are vampires. I think this one's funny because it's very tongue-in-cheek. It makes fun of itself. It has references to Twilight. It has references to Vampire Diaries. It like really goes ham on making fun of itself and kind of breaking the fourth wall. I enjoy them. I know some people don't really like this series, but I personally think it's funny and I enjoy it, so hence it's on this list. And also, yes, the cover makes fun of the Twilight covers, which is why I kind of love them, because it's like I said, it's tongue-in-cheek. It knows what it's doing, and I love it. And last but not least, we have a, oh my god, my dog's chew toy. We have a new adult romance vampire series, and that is Charlie Travesty by Jesse Elliott and KJ Sutton. This is an independently published vampire serial series. So this book is the first 4 serial novels in it. So they're short little installments. I like this. It takes a more modern take on vampires. So there's different like types of vampires, different like status levels of the vampires depending on your eye color, which I think is pretty awesome. And yeah, I really enjoyed this first bind up of the first 4. And yeah, like I said, they're new adult, so they're a bit steamier than young adult, obviously, just because new adult is typically 18 to like 24, while YA is whatever it is. Yeah, just be cautious going into this one. Yeah, I like this one. It's more of like, to me, it feels more of a dystopian-esque take on vampires. So yeah, there's that. Alrighty, that was my personal list of my favorite vampire books that I own, basically, and that I've read so far. I still have a ton more vampire books to read in my life. I have some on my TBR already that I need to get to, but for now, those are my favorite vampire books. But yeah, let me know if you've read any of those books down below, if they make your favorite list on vampire books, if you have any vampire book recommendations. I love new vampire books, because I love vampires, if I couldn't say that enough. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I enjoyed making this. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, because I greatly appreciate it, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye guys.